Hello you, welcome to Geekism and welcome back to another Planet Coaster video. A little bit different this time. We're just doing a one-off build that I'm not actually sure is going to end up in any of my parks. I've spoken about this before. Occasionally I'll get an idea or I'll see an idea. I think I genuinely thought of this myself, to be honest, but I'm sure there's other people playing around with this sort of thing. And every now and again I'll get an idea, and if I don't just get it out of my brain, I'm stuck with it, and it will sit there and fester, and I can't concentrate on anything else. And it was playing around with the gift shops this week that were new to Update 6, and I saw one of the guests sort of stand by the shelving and sort of point and go, ooh. And I just had this idea. I was like, wow, that kind of looks like they're playing a game. And I've built this, basically. The video is kind of all over the place today because I've got a little issue with recording for some reason. In NVIDIA GeForce needed drivers updated or whatever, so I lost some footage. So what you're seeing here is bits and bobs, but basically this is a proof of concept video. Because what you can do is place a shelf unit inside something like this. You can build something like this around the shelf unit and then set the shelf unit to be part of a gift store and then set it to be empty. You can set it so that you can't see any items on it, and the guest will wander over to it and go ooh, and then wander off, and then they'll eventually go to the gift store and buy something. So if you build a couple of games that look like they're going to hang around, buy the games, and then you build the gift store to look a little bit like a prize wall from an arcade, to all intents and purposes, get a functioning arcade. They go over and hang around by the game, and then after a while they go to the store and they pick something out and they walk away with a little carrier bag which has got their goodies in. So I haven't sort of spent a million hours on this because it is kind of like a proof of concept, and I'll talk about arcades a little bit later on. But I'm not going to spend a huge amount on this because I genuinely think an arcade would be a great feature for them to add, and I would like to think that maybe that will be something we see in the game eventually. We actually already had a couple of arcade games in Planet Coaster 1. We had both a grabber, there was two grabbers I think, there was a King Candy, I forget what the other one was, and then we also had like a Zoltar machine, those machines that kind of, will fart out a little cookie, like fortune cookie kind of thing. It'll tell you that you're going to come into millions and meet a tall, dark, handsome stranger and all that kind of thing. And they had one of those in the game. And I think they came with the vintage pack, or they came as free alongside the vintage pack, I believe. So the tech is kind of there. They've got the ability and the inclination to do it. I would just love to see a more fleshed out system where there's multiple arcade machines and grabbers and video games and what have you. And they could have so much fun building them within the world. I feel like one day it might be a thing. So I haven't gone insane. I'm sitting here building individual trays of prizes. Maybe I have gone insane and I've just lost what basis I have in reality now. Maybe I have gone insane, but whatever. I didn't spend that long on this stuff. This is maybe like 2 days worth of building, and that might sound a lot to a lot of people, but for a Planet Coaster episode, it's usually about a week's worth of building. So I didn't go quite crazy on this one. So we have, so I built 3 grabbers. I don't know if they have a proper name, but you know what I mean. You move left and right and press the button and the thing goes down and tries to pick up. The claw is my master. I have been chosen, that kind of thing. Built 3 of those, and the good thing about this kind of stuff is once you've got one down, you can reskin it. You can take it away, you can change its color, you can change its name, and a lot of these things, though, arcade machines, they do have different looks to them, different sizes, different shapes. I did build just 3 arcade cabinets, and then the 3 grabbers, and then a jumbo grabber. Sometimes you see these ones, they're big ones now, and you either pick up like rings that have got points tickets in them, or some like beach balls, or just big stuffies. We built one of those as well. And I didn't want to do any more because honestly, there's already some incredible arcade stuff out there. Specifically, Josh, mods by Josh. If you go on to Frontier Workshop, I'll put the link in the description. He's done an incredible series of arcade cabinets, and lots of other games as well, like air hockey and skee ball, the pinball machines, all of that kind of stuff. Even one of like the wheels that you spin around, like the end of Price is Right, even one of those. And really, there's no point in reinventing the wheel. The stuff that Josh has made and others, there's lots of the stuff on the workshop already, is all incredible. I just kind of wanted to get this idea of like sneaking a gift shop into it, just to get the guests moving through it and interacting it. And I know I probably sound a little bit like a broken record at this point, but that is the thing I wish to see the most in this game, is guests interacting with stuff in theme parks outside of rides, because I do think that's probably not where the game is necessarily lacking, because it's not the sort of thing we've often seen in games like this. I just think that if it really wants to go special, it could push forward and move forward with these kind of things. I made a little bit of a list and I haven't got it ready. That's probably why it sounds like I'm waffling, because I am. Okay, here we go. I made a list. Here, all these things they could have: arcades, midway games. That's the knocking the bottles off or throwing a dart, that level up where you pay $10 to play a game and win stuffies, that kind of thing. Spraying guns over water rides. Very often water rides will have path interaction where there's in the queue line or at the exit you can put a dollar in a thing and spray people as they go past. Misters, just having mist in the air that you can have come out of pipes that the guests react to. Character meet and greets. The characters in the game just wander around like they have done since Roller Coaster Tycoon 1. Have them set up in a certain spot and have people line up to meet and greet them. It'd be much more realistic. Telescopes, binoculars that you can put a buck in and have a look around. Face painting, tattoos, caricatures, little sort of setups where guests will sit and have an interaction with a staff member, a pianist that you can set up to listen to, such as like they have in Main Streets in the Disney. Playgrounds, splash pads, all of that stuff. I would take over more rides, honestly. And I know that people play this game differently and certain people want certain stuff, and there's roller coasters that are missing, and I'm sure that will all come. Like that's usually what the DLCs look like in this game. But for me personally, I would love to see more of this second tier content where guests just enjoy the space and not just like queue up for the next ride and the next ride, the next ride. So here we go. Here's the arcade cabinets. Very simple, and I kept the decoration on these pretty light because I think the idea is eventually you'll have a room full of 50 of these. What I would do, and I think what I will do when I look to build an arcade in one of my parks, because I do feel like it's the sort of thing that will fit, is I will intersperse these ones with the gift shop stuff in just throughout an arcade that's filled with other stuff that's a little bit more sort of there for scenery. You could spend the time adjusting other stuff that's out there on the workshop to make it work with the gift shop stuff, but knowing that these fit, they're built around the gift shop stuff, I feel like I would just throw these in and intersperse them and have one of these every third or fourth machine or something like that, and that would probably be enough. It would get the guests in, it would get them milling about, and that's really all I'm asking for from the game. Really, is just having guests interact with the stuff that we build outside of rides. So the building then, I wasn't originally planning on making it a full building. I was just going to throw up the gift shop stuff, the arcade machines, and they are available on the workshop. There'll be a link in the description to the machines and then also to this whole building. The building is a little empty because you can only make a blueprint out of 8,000 pieces, which is an upgrade on the number, but it still wasn't enough for this because the arcade machines are a little intense in their piece count. But you can go in and get the building and then add, like I say, go on the workshop, get some stuff by Josh or whoever else has made awesome arcade machines and sort of populate them with this. I wasn't going to make a building. I don't necessarily even think this is the right kind of building for a theme park, but over the weekend, me and my girlfriend and her brother, we went to Swiss Chalet, and those who don't know, that is a chain of restaurants here in Canada. It is a Canadian chain. I believe it's still Canadian owned. It's one of the few things that might be. I don't know. But it does roast chicken, rotisserie chicken, and beef. It's just like chicken dinners, basically. So Nando's without the spice, I guess. I'm a big fan of it as just like, that cheap and cheerful. Everything's kind of $20. You can go and get yourself some dinner. and we went, and I just love the look of the place. Actually, it's a new build one, and it's got a lot of nice wood around, and it looks like really sort of generic restaurant. I find that restaurants in general are becoming very generic now. They all look the same. But I took some photos of it, and the plan was to build it for Canada Day, it's the 1st of July, which was yesterday at time of recording this voiceover. And the weekend just got away with me. We went out and had barbecues and went to the pools and stuff, because the weather here has been absolutely glorious. So it got a little bit away from me, but I still would like to give it a go to build a Swiss chalet. And I got thinking about it, and I thought I might look at doing like a little mini series just on and off as and when I feel like I'm in the mood for it, to basically build a strip mall, because these things always look really great outside of your theme parks. They really add a lot to the world. You know, they really add some vibrancy and some realism to the world. And a lot of people have done these now. I really enjoyed. I think it might have actually been in Planet Coaster 1. It was Minerals. Steve Town had like a strip mall outside and a motel and what have you, and that was really great. I know S. Wolf often does it with his parks as well. It's something I've never really looked at doing. My parks have always been just, within a lump of trees, but I kind of like the idea of sort of fleshing them out a little bit. So I might actually look at doing a mall. So this build actually is more for that. It would fit in a strip mall. It's just windows on the front, and then the sides and the back are just very plain brick, so that it can go in a row of others. And I think that's kind of how I'd like to do it. Saying all of that, the whole building is on the workshop. If you do feel like this will fit in your park and you want to throw it down, you can do. Or, like I said, you can go and get the arcade pieces just on their own. One thing I will say is I don't necessarily know how well it blueprints. I don't know whether you're going to have to go in and reattach the shelves to the store, whether you're going to have to go in and empty them. Make sure you're putting it down on path. If you don't put it on path, I think the shelves can just disappear sometimes. But there is path in the blueprint, I think. I don't know. I'm not really a blueprint guy. I very rarely build for blueprints, but a lot of people always ask me about this stuff. So I've really tried with this one to make it blueprintable. And in the end, I'm really quite happy with how it works. And look, you just get to see the guests wander around and play arcade games. They're browsers mostly. They don't actually play, but I feel like that's real life arcades mostly. It's just people having to wander around, and occasionally you'll get a guy who puts a bit too much money into one of those claw grabbers or skee ball. Go onto the workshop, get some other arcade stuff, throw them in here as well. You'll need like a ticket machine. I'm sure those are up there as well. So yeah, have a lot of fun with it. I just had to get this one out of my head. It's an arcade. It's about as close as we're going to get to one until they add them into the game, I think. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. Until the next one, be good.